All right, we are back with the RW Wrestling Podcast, and we're reviewing Insurrection 2002.
Reverse Erection 2002.
Inside Erection 2002.
Yeah, we made that joke too.
So we started the night off. Actually, first things first is on the DVD version of it. They must have just went to WWE because everything says WWF, but the logo in the corner said WWE on our version.
And then on the network, it's back to the old WWF.
Yeah.
So that was kind of off.
Because we went there to check to see if they still used Brock Lesnar's generic music number 5 for his entrance, and they did.
I was going to ask you guys about that because it wasn't the his normal theme.
We like this one better, actually, because it's just generic.
Generic rock music number 5.
I can't get down with it. I couldn't get down with it. I was like, this is dumb. I like the other one better.
It sounded better when we weren't watching it live. When you went to YouTube and found it, it sounded better.
It was hilarious. But we started the night off with an Intercontinental title match. Eddie Guerrero versus Rob Van Dam.
Man, RVD had a rough time at the beginning of this match.
Yeah, but there was like 10 RVD chants, so I think it was getting. He was getting over it. So this crowd was all hyped for this match.
Crowd doesn't notice fuck ups. That's fine.
RVD did a spin kick, a baseball slide, a moonsault, and a springboard leg drop to Eddie. RVD did the split leg of moonsault to Eddie. Eddie did an elbow to RVD. Eddie yells at the ref, which is pretty funny. Eddie does a suplex to RVD. Eddie does a backdrop and a helo to RVD. Eddie hangs up RVD on the ropes. At this point in time, RVD does a sunset flip and attempts to pin Guerrero, and Guerrero's hands are on the ropes, and the referee literally kicks his hand off the ropes. So, what the fuck?
True.
Eddie does a modified version of the half crab and kind of like an ankle lock at the same time on RVD. Eddie does a drop kick to RVD's knee. Eddie does a heel hook on RVD. But RVD used his other leg to get out of it, which is pretty good. Eddie at this point is using the ropes when he's got RVD in the leg lock. You can see it for a split second. RVD does a super kick to Eddie. RVD does a monkey flip to Eddie.
You talk about the referee spot?
Well, that's one of them. RVD did a float over suplex and then a slam and a rolling thunder to Eddie. RVD did a rolling Death Valley driver and a moonsault to Eddie. Eddie at this point reversed the 5-star frog splash, rolls out of the ring, grabs the Intercontinental title. The referee says, no, don't use it. Eddie Guerrero then shoves the referee, and Rob Van Dam wins by disqualification.
Stupid fuck finish. Come on, man.
I don't even get to rate this match because I got pulled away on a phone call during it, so...
You did. It was weird.
I was like, don't call me about work. I'm taking 2 days off. And I was like, I'm going to call you about work.
Yeah, what the fuck? Oh, shit. What are your notes, Albert?
Hey, Dylan, what do you mean by RVD had it rough in the beginning of this match?
When he was... Fucking, was it Eddie was like kicking his legs and he was supposed to like hop it? Or was he kicking at Eddie's legs and he was supposed to hop
RVD
it?
was kicking at Eddie's legs.
But he wasn't actually getting to Eddie's legs, so Eddie just stood there. So RVD just did like the whole like, you're supposed to hop over the leg kick, like across the sweeps.
It was hilarious because
and
it was
Eddie
right
just stood there. And RVD just kept going like 3 times and Eddie's like, okay, that was weird. And then they had a spot later, a few minutes after that, where Eddie was on the ropes and RVD was supposed to run and go through the ropes. And he kind of like slowed down, stopped, and jumped out of the ring. It was weird.
Oh, I guess I didn't notice that stuff. I mean, I thought RVD looked pretty good in this match.
The moonsault on the outside looked really good.
Yeah, it's just after those 2 parts, he just didn't look very, like, that was the 2 parts that was kind of off.
Well, luckily it picked up. I mean, I didn't notice that stuff. I guess I'm just tired today. I'm not sure, but, like, yeah, the pop for RVD was, like, it blew the roof off the building. I mean, this crowd popped for RVD. One of a kind. Yeah! It was outstanding. Lawler's like, he may be Rob Van Dam, but he doesn't have Latino heat. You know, typical Lawler.
Well, one part that we noticed is Lawler was sitting there saying something, and then he just goes, "Dude."
He has a very awkward dude moment.
Yeah, it was a response to something that RVD did. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
I was like, "What the fuck?"
There were 10 random RVD chants throughout this match. I counted them. Like it's RVD, and then I think Robbie Nick started one by himself, but the crowd did it like 9 times on their own. Eddie was getting boos. Like, I mean, this crowd really was like a weird crowd compared to today, where like no one would ever boo Eddie now if he was alive. But he was getting Eddie sucks. He was getting boos from this crowd. Like, I don't know if it was heel work or just British fans were marks in 2002. I'm not really sure.
Don't worry, man. It was so nice to think about talking about the live crowd after watching that Rumble.
The only thing that I was pissed off about is their stupid fucking horns.
Oh, I know. That was distracting all the way through the show. Yeah. I liked towards the end where Eddie started cutting RVD off all the time, and so stopping RVD's comeback, and Eddie got the leg going and all that stuff. That was Super Kick RVD. Eddie sold it like a boss. God damn, it looked good. But the crowd was the crowd was keeping me in it, but the fuck finish really hurt it for me. By the way, did you see Eddie get mad that he got disqualified? I mean, like, dude, you just saved your title. Don't worry about it.
Well, my favorite part about that is when he starts chasing the ref around the ring.
Yeah, like, what are you doing, Eddie? Calm down. The end is crushing for me. I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 6.5 just because of the ending.
I can't give it a rating because I wasn't there for the entire thing.
I did like the spot at the end where RVD got his heat back, where he did like that jumping drop kick to Eddie. Then he grabbed the Intercontinental title, put it on Eddie's chest, and did the 5-star frog splash.
So yeah, there you go. Yeah, I remember that part too. I mean, he had to get one in at some point for the crowd, and he did it like all sideways.
Yeah, it was a weird looking 5-star, but I mean, it looked fine.
Yeah, he had to turn his body in midair.
Latino Heat.
Latino Heat. Yeah, I never get over that shit.
How many quotes do you have from Lawler in this pay-per-view?
I have several between him and JR. I wrote them all. Yeah, I think I got about like maybe 2 or 3.
I hope you have the one from the Stasiak match.
There's one really fucked up one where I was like, that's the wrong match to say that line.
I don't know much about Stasiak. I mean, I got one from Stasiak, but like I don't remember what it was.
We can bring it up when we get there, but it's fucking funny.
But then we had the backstage segment. And who was back there and what'd they say, Albert?
All right, so we had Terry Reynolds with Molly Holly and Jazz, and Terry's about ready to ask a question, and she is seeing serious shade from Molly Holly. She's getting some stink eye from Molly Holly here. So she turns to her and says, "Do you have a problem with me?" And Molly goes on this little tangent, rant about like how all the divas and are exploiting their exploiting their sacred body by always taking all their clothes off and all that shit. So she has a problem with Terry. She has a problem with their opponent. She has a problem with every diva who decides to exploit their sacred body. And she keeps on going by saying, "Jazz and I don't need to do that. We're beautiful as we are." And then this British tabloid got shown where this women on the back of it were like showing their tits and they're half naked and everything.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, JR's like, "Ah!" You know, he does this little, "Ah!"
I don't think I've ever heard JR go, "Ah!"
You mean Lawler?
Yeah. Yeah, I said Lawler, didn't I?
No, he said JR.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm sure JR said it too.
Lawler was getting hyped.
Yeah. So then Terry stops. Terry stops Molly Holly and says, "Hey, look, I'm proud of my body, and I'm not afraid to show it." So then she removes her blouse to show her in her bra, and her fake tits are popping out.
Speaking of
that, obviously the crowd goes off for that a little bit. Then Molly and Jazz walk off, and then ends the segment. But it ends with Lawler asking JR, "Hey, JR, did you see that?" And JR says, "Yes, I saw both of that."
I saw both of that.
So then we have Trish Strattos and Jacqueline versus Molly Holly and Jazz.
Oof.
Yeah. Basically, every match has an interview segment from participants in the said match. So it's the theme of the night.
So Holly and Jazz suplex Jacqueline. Jacqueline and Holly roll over the referee.
Yeah.
Jazz and Holly clothesline Jacqueline. Jazz has a super kick to Strattos. Jazz has a chicken wing submission hold to Strattos in the air. Holly and Jazz throw Strattos into the air by her hair. Strattos does a neck breaker to Jazz. Jacqueline does a DDT to Jazz. Jacqueline and Strattos... Actually, Jazz does a half crab to Jacqueline. Jazz does an STF to Jacqueline that looked better than Cena.
True.
Jacqueline and Strattos do a clothesline to Holly, and Jazz do a do-si-do, and then do a Stratisfaction to Jazz and Holly. So Jacqueline and Trish Strattos win.
Yeah. It was a squash match. It really was until the faces won. Did you all notice that? They got their asses kicked until they won.
I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, like they had no like they never were they never had real they never had a real advantage over the heels at all until the end, and then they won from some stupid double pin nonsense.
Did they have Latino heat?
Yeah, no heat. So here's another JR and Lawler exchange here. So when Jazz comes out, Lawler can't help himself around this time, and he's talking about Jazz's face and how I guess he thinks she's ugly, right? So he says, "You don't look at the mantelpiece while you're stoking the fire, right, JR? Right?" And JR's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Apparently that's some kind of British saying, because Lawler was doing British sayings throughout the whole show. So apparently that's some kind of British saying. I'm not really sure, but either way, it's kind of fucked up in a way. Like, calm down, Lawler. But then again, 2002. I mean, like there was no boundaries at this point.
No.
So, yeah. I mean, like as far as I'm concerned, like Molly and Jackie got their. I'm sorry, Molly and Jackie. Trish and Jackie got their asses whipped until the end. They had a hot tag, but like that really didn't do anything. Molly does that handspring elbow better than Chyna ever could, so that was fun to see. Jackie broke the big person rule. If you count her jumping into Jazz, does that count?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, would you count that? 'Cause they're like near the same size.
We had a couple of big spot moments during this.
Yeah, we did. We had a
this
couple.
Show.
Oh, I know two of them off the top of my head. In fact, I texted you one, Chris.
Yeah, well, all right. We'll say that Jackie and Jazz doesn't count because they're around the same size.
All right. Okay, so then that I'm glad Jazz did that STF really well because that was a horrible looking Boston Crab spot. I hated it. It took like 5,000 hours for it to get over. I was like, God damn it. God damn. Like, no heat at all for Jackie when she got the hot tag. I thought that was kind of annoying.
No Latino heat.
No heat. And just a weird, dumb finish. I gave it a 5. It was just there for me. It was a squash match. The people who get squashed actually won. I gave it a 5.
It was a 4. It sucked.
I gave it a 4 as well.
I just figured they were doing what they were doing. I don't know. But
no, you're justified in your rating. Don't get me wrong. It's just I didn't like it as much.
Yeah. Okay, so then we go backstage again for another pre-match interview with somebody in that match. As you see, X-Pac flipping some nunchucks around, and he has Kane's mask in one hand. He has nunchucks in the other. He's just flipping them around. And Scott Hall walks up to him. And X-Pac says, "Man, Scott, I'm ready. I'm ready to get my hands on this freaking dumb Texan," referring to Bradshaw. And X-Pac is so pissed that he lost to Bradshaw on Raw because he said something about his feet were in the ropes. And he said he's going to do the same thing that the NWO did to Kane, and he had shows Kane's mask. So what are they going to do? Like take off Bradshaw's mask? I was kind of confused.
No, honestly, I wasn't even paying attention to the interview. So when he walked away, I thought he was facing Kane.
So X-Pac says if he doesn't win, he won't come back to this lousy country ever again. Hall asks X-Pac if he needs backup, and X-Pac says no, he can do it by himself. And X-Pac walks off. And then the segment ends with Hall just saying into the camera, "Man, I don't know why you would want to come back to this country even if you win."
Yeah, I did like that. So we have Bradshaw versus X-Pac.
Yay! Monday Night Raw filler match.
Bradshaw.
Wait. So before you do your play-by-play here, I wrote, "Will X-Pac break the big man rule?" I swear to God.
I'm pretty sure we said that right at the beginning of the match too.
I did too.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are okay.
I found it, and we'll talk about it later when we get to the video package for the main event. But I found a new bump.
A new what?
A new bump. Not the cane bump. There's a new bump.
Okay.
All right. Bradshaw versus X-Pac. Bradshaw does a shoulder tackle and a big boot to X-Pac. Bradshaw does a backdrop to X-Pac. X-Pac does a drop kick to Bradshaw's leg. X-Pac hits Bradshaw into the exposed turnbuckle, and after the referee gets him out of there, Bradshaw does it again at least once.
Yeah, go figure.
Bradshaw did a powerbomb to X-Pac off of Bret's rope. Bradshaw did a power slam and a neck breaker to X-Pac. Bradshaw did a top rope shoulder block to X-Pac, which looked pretty cool. X-Pac did a spinning heel kick to Bradshaw. Bradshaw did a fall-away slam to X-Pac. Scott Hall comes out and hits Bradshaw with the nunchucks. Bradshaw does a clothesline to Scott Hall to get him off the apron. X-Pac does a low blow and an X-Factor Bradshaw, and X-Pac wins. He can come back to the UK.
And but see, would he want to even if he won? But that's the question we'll have to find out later.
Is China there? Because he goes wherever China is.
Yeah, I thought Kane was going to come out, but I guess he's hurt or something. I'm not sure what they did to him. So I was waiting for Kane to come out here, but maybe they'll save it for the States. Maybe they saved it for the States. This
is post Hogan NWO. It's all garbage.
Yeah, I mean, this is like we're off at WrestleMania 18. That's absolutely correct, sir. You actually know your wrestling, sir. Good job, sir. I'm kidding.
I'll kick you in the dick next time I see you. Don't worry.
No problem.
Kick City?
I'll make sure I have an inside erection. I'll make sure I have an inside erection so it won't hurt.
Aww.
That's a good bit. That was good.
I was very surprised that X-Pac was able to bust open Bradshaw. I was surprised they booked that.
Because they just had him bash his... Oh, I gotta talk about it.
When he bashed his own head into the turnbuckle.
Yeah, because fucking X-Pac's bashing his head into the exposed turnbuckle. But it's funny because I even rewound it because he didn't see it. And he didn't see the part I was talking about. X-Pac walks away and Bradshaw does it like 2 more times. It was like ridiculous.
I don't think I saw that. That's crazy. And also the ref is sitting right there watching X-Pac adjust his turnbuckle pad and like is conveniently looking the other way.
Yep.
And then he's standing right there as he's bashing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Lawler says some excuse of he's trying to fix it, JR.
Yeah.
I just thought it was hilarious to see Bradshaw continue to bash his own head in the thing when X-Pac already backed off.
Yeah. I didn't have anything really to say about this match at all. It was pretty just, like you said, it's a Raw match. I didn't really care.
They gave X-Pac an opponent that's bigger than him, and the guy bled. So I was like, oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
Only blood of the night, too.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. I didn't really care much for it.
That sounds about right. And not to mention the weird Kevin Nash spot.
Yes, that's he didn't take that bump very well at all.
I couldn't even tell it was Kevin Nash, to be honest.
I'll say 5.5 on Bradshaw X-Pac.
It's a 4. It's a 4 for me, Chris.
Okay. Then what do we have, Albert?
All right, so backstage we have Coach, and he's interviewing The Undertaker. And Coach says, before he finishes, he says that you're facing Triple H, and it's going to be one of your toughest opponents ever. And so Taker just says, hey, look, I'm in a real bad mood. You're standing with The Undertaker. You're standing with the man who just savagely beat up Hollywood Hogan. And I'm going to do to Triple H what I did to Hollywood Hogan. And because in this business allows me to beat people up, which is good because I like to do that.
Wow,
Triple H has overcome the odds. He's come back from major injuries. But if he has any hopes of overcoming his biggest obstacle, that being me, then those hopes will rest in peace. Interview over.
Whoa.
So then we have hardcore title match. Steven Richards versus Booker T.
This sucked.
Booker hits Richards with a tray and does a spin kick. Booker hits Richards onto the barricade and then with a broom. Booker does a suplex to Richards. Booker hit Richards with a trash can and did a super kick to Richards with a trash can on his head.
Yeah, so that's funny.
Booker did a flapjack to Richards. Richards hit Booker with the tray. Booker did a backdrop to Richards. Richards at this point takes the trash can and chucks it to Booker, who's on the outside.
That's the best spot in the entire match.
Booker does a slam to Richards. Richards drop kicks the trash can into Booker. Richards is a clothesline, was clotheslined into the trash can that was set up in the corner. Booker does a nice spine buster to Richards. Booker does a top rope drop kick to Richards with the trash can on his head. Richards does a super kick to Booker. Booker does the bookend to Steven Richards and wins that match. Then you have Crash Holly come out, and he rolls up Booker and wins.
And he starts mocking Booker T, which is hilarious.
Then Booker wins the title back. Then Just Incredible and Tommy Dreamer come out and get their ass kicked.
Did our Trish show up?
Nope.
Dang it. It's just a waste.
He would have been in TNA at this point.
Yeah, he's probably NWA World Champion at this point because that was early 2002.
And then after that, Jazz comes out and low blows Booker. Steven Richards does essentially Devon's part of the 3D into a table and it doesn't break, so Booker just bounces the fuck off of it. Tries to pin him, gets a 2. And then he does it one more time through the table, gets a 3, and Richards wins his belt back.
Yeah, like you were saying, Dylan, this is definitely a Raw match for sure.
This entire show is basically a Raw match.
Yeah. Did you? Funny part in the beginning was when Booker was throwing weapons in the ring. Steve Richards kept throwing him back out. I thought that was kind of funny, considering it's a hardcore match.
Yep.
There was a moment where I was like, this is actually a little bit competitive for a hardcore match until the end where everybody starts coming out. Then the gimmick plays itself out. I'm not the biggest fan of the 24/7 hardcore thing. Why don't they consider it like a title and just have regular angles and matches and feuds with it instead of like this, it's like an angle for the sake of TV. It's like a TV thing or whatever.
Think about everybody who's in the 24/7 title picture. There's no story there. It's just a bunch of dudes following each other around.
Yeah, well, I know, I get it. I just wish it was different. I wish it was considered maybe a legit title for at some point. But
they don't have writers for that.
Well, they did make it a legit title at first until the 24/7 rule was put into place.
At least they didn't make a bunch of fake videos like when the 24/7 title came out. It's like, oh, here's Jinder Mahal in front of his airplane on a golf course, and then there's just R-Truth rolls, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
They did do the segment, though, where Crash Holly was in the amusement park.
Yeah, Crash Holly was my favorite hardcore chant down during those times. He had the belt 25 times or something like that.
He technically won it here tonight, too.
What's that?
He technically won it at this pay-per-view, too.
Dude, he probably won the 24/7 title from the grave tonight, too.
Yeah.
I gave it I gave it a 5. It was what it was. I didn't hate it.
I gave it a 4 because I think hardcore title, I don't think is.
Well, but I like that version of the hardcore angle, of the hardcore idea. I like that the version of it back in the early 2000s, I guess. That's why I'm kind of more partial to it than it is now. Because it was actually novel back then. It was more novel back then, but now it's just played out because it's on TV every single week.
I gave it a 5.5. It wasn't great.
I mean, yeah. Like I said, I thought the match was actually pretty competitive for a little bit there. I was actually getting kind of intrigued about it. And then, like I said, the 24/7. The hardcore title aspect of it played out. And I was like, okay, everybody's winning. Okay, whatever. Jazz comes out, wins the hardcore title. I don't care. Whatever.
Hey, Tommy Dreamer was on this show.
He's on every show with a hardcore title, right?
He's on a lot more. We were talking about when he came out. I've noticed that Tommy Dreamer was around a lot more in the WWF, WWE early days of 2000 than I thought he was. Because he pops up in almost every show.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Tommy Dreamer, segment number 2.
He's like, it's like a Flip Dreamer.
Well, no, this is Flip Jazz Gordon.
Jazz Gordon Flip.
True.
Because she was in the promo package for this match.
She shows up at the end of the match.
She was in the other match.
If there was a Rumble, she would have been in that too.
Yeah, you're right.
And here comes Flip.
All right, then what happens, Albert?
All right, so we're backstage with Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and Sean Stasiak.
Who was on cocaine.
Yeah, dude, that guy was definitely taking something because he was just wired.
All right, so Heyman tells Stasiak to relax, but Stasiak is just way too excited because he's Brock Lesnar's partner tonight. And Stasiak starts to inspire a certain Viper's gimmick about hearing voices. Paul Heyman suggests, but Paul Heyman says to Stasiak, Sean, calm down. I got a strategy. I want you to stand on the apron and let Brock do all the work. Because Brock and I don't want to team with you, but since the Hardys have a tag match with us tonight, we need a partner, contractually speaking. So we picked you because you should be able to figure out how to stand on the apron. I love that line. It's so funny. Because he's getting all mad. Because Stasiak's like just looking around and like not paying attention. It basically says, stay on Planet Stasiak, which is another great line. So Paul Heyman walks up and huff because Stasiak's not listening to him. Or if he does, it's not convincing. And so Brock gets to Stasiak's face and says, if you thought that beating I gave you on Raw was bad, it would be worse if you don't listen tonight. So and then we go to the match.
All right. So we have the Hardy Boys versus Sean Stasiak and Brock Lesnar.
Generic music number 5 hits.
Okay.
And then on top of that, during the Hardys' entrance, they talk about how Lita broke her neck at this point, filming for Dark Angel.
Dude, I was like, that happened 3 days ago. Why isn't she here?
And then he goes, you heard me. She broke her neck on Tuesday. And he goes, she can walk, can't she?
We're in London.
Like, Jesus Christ, Lawler.
This is also the match we were talking about where Lawler says, and I quote, I listen to the voices in my pants.
He does.
And I was just like, the women's match was like half an hour ago.
Yeah, what the fuck? So, this match starts off with the Hardy Boys in the ring, and Lesnar's coming out and stays. It's just him and Heyman at this point in time. Well, then you see Stasiak running down the entrance ramp, and Stasiak makes sure that he starts the match.
Yeah.
So Jeff
What
gives.
What are you doing? So funny.
Jeff gives Stasiak his clothesline and his leg drop spot. Stasiak does a slam to Jeff. Stasiak does a sidewalk slam to Jeff. Jeff does a jawbreaker to Stasiak. Matt does a neck breaker to Stasiak. Lesnar ends up saving Stasiak from Poetry in Motion. Lesnar does a power slam to Matt. Lesnar does another power slam to Matt. Then Lesnar does a vertical suplex to Matt. Then Lesnar gets thrown into the corner and Stasiak tags himself in again. Dumbass. Jeff does Whisper in the Wind to Stasiak. The Hardy Boys do the Twist of Fate Swanton combo to Stasiak, and the Hardy Boys win.
Yay! Yeah, but so Brock Lesnar goes off after the match on all 3 men in the ring, including both the Hardys and Stasiak, and so he said, "If you don't listen, I'm gonna give you a beating worse than you got on Raw." All he did was like F5 him once, and that was it.
Oh, he gave him the he gave him the power bomb thing, where he did the spinning power bomb.
Oh, that's right. I thought, yeah, that's right. It was a power bomb. I thought it was F5. Yeah, this the best part was Stasiak getting reprimanded by Paul Heyman, like, "What are you doing? Get out of the ring!" But once Lesnar got in there, is when the match got like somewhat fun. Because to me, that was all about Brock Lesnar here. The Hardys were second fiddle. Stasiak was just there to whatever. But Lawler says he's crazy-ack. That's a good little line, I guess.
Yeah.
So you know when Brock Lesnar does those shoulder tackles while you're in the corner, you just freaking put your shoulder into your gut?
Oh, he was killing Matt Hardy with that.
Yeah. Matt Hardy was also down on his, like laying down on his, he was like almost laying down in the corner, and he was just getting tattooed by those shoulder tackles. I was like, I hope Matt's okay. He's getting crushed. Matt Hardy did break the big man rule. He jumped into Brock Lesnar, who caught him.
Yup.
And the second Stasiak tagged in second, I was like, oh, crap, you done fucked up now, dude. You better win the match. And of course they don't, because Stasiak gets pinned by the Hardys. Who got the pin again?
Jeff did.
Jeff did, yeah.
And they got immediately murdered by Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
It continues what you said, Dylan. This is basically a glorified Raw. Yeah, I mean, except for the last 2 matches, it's what it is. It's a glorified Raw.
Yeah, even the last 2 matches, I think, were kind of glorified Raw. Just a little bit more happy.
Yeah, but like this, we'll get to those 2. I thought those 2 matches were pretty good, actually. I gave this match a 5 as well. It was there. It was there just to get Brock Lesnar over as a beast. And there you go. That's what that was for.
And it's also in a way to get the Hardys a rub in the feud, even though they don't actually beat Brock. Because if they didn't win this match, then there's just Brock kicking the shit out of him for like 2 months.
Yeah, I gave it a 6 because I found it entertaining with Stasiak and Heyman.
Yeah,
Heyman's
just getting pissed. It's so funny.
He was pissed.
It's a 5, I tell you, a 5.
So then, what happened after this, Albert?
All right, so we're backstage with Coach once again, and he has William Regal with him. And William Regal starts off his little interview by saying, "I'm the kind of person that made this country great." Okay. In a nutshell, he says basically the people of London are underachieving doctors with their divvy children. So that's some slang. I meant to look it up and find out what it means, like literally translated, but I forgot to do it. But I guess you can just make your own assumptions of what those words mean.
That's great.
He says it's no wonder that these underachieving people look to me for greatness. So when I beat Spike Dudley to win back my European title, it would be like a ray of sunshine to these miserable people. And as he walks up, he's like, sometimes these people here, sometimes these people just make me ashamed to be British. God damn, freaking shitting on your own town.
So then,
yeah, well, I think his drug problems made the country ashamed to have him. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Then we have the European title match: Spike Dudley versus William Regal.
Why?
I know. Yeah. This could have been a lot. This match could have been a lot better. I don't know what they were thinking.
So Spike Dudley drop kicks and punches Regal. Dudley does a headbutt to Regal in like the chest or like the belly area. Dudley attempts a Dudley dog and hurts his ankle. Then they're checking on his ankle. The referee or the doctor cuts his boot off, and they're like bringing him to the back. And then Regal just attacks Spike and attacks his ankle. Then Regal gets him back in the ring and does a suplex to Spike onto the ropes. Then Regal does a power bomb to Spike. Then Spike grabs the brass knucks and hits Regal and pins him. 1, 2, 3. Spike Dudley retains.
Stupid match.
Yep. This is a waste of time.
I also thought the whole ankle spot was ridiculously overblown because they took like 5-6 minutes just to get that figured out.
They could have had like a good 6-minute little sprint of a match here. I mean, like why even like do the hurt ankle stuff and yeah, like you said, it took like forever to get it together. And then when they got back in the ring, it was over in a second anyway. I don't know. By the way, were people booing Spike at one point when he was firing up on William Regal?
I can see that.
I mean, it would make sense with the hometown crowd.
I could hear her boost. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the finish as it was. It was just how horrible how they got there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this one because this really doesn't make any sense.
It's 2.
Anyway,
2.
Yeah, I gave it a 3. Unfortunately, I didn't want to, but it is what it is.
It was a big steaming pile of 2.
I'll go a 3 as well. It was bad.
Big steaming pile of 2.
All right, so then we had a hype package for Austin and Big Show. And then out to the ring comes Ric Flair in a referee shirt. And he comes out the ring and says he's going to be basically an enforcer on the outside of the ring.
But he says he's going to be the referee.
I'm sorry?
He says he's going to be the referee.
Like, there's going to be 2 referees. Duh.
He said he'll be the referee on the outside. So I figured that's the enforcer kind of role he's playing, like Mike Tyson did.
But that's retarded. Don't say referee then to say enforcer.
Oh, well, fair enough. But so he said he's going to keep the NWO out of the match, and that was his story of the match. So then we go to the match itself.
The only thing I like is the promo at the end where he's like, nobody interfered. I made sure.
So we have
I think
Stone
it's
Cold
fun
Steve
anyway.
Austin versus Will.
It's a big show. And I'm
Big
not talking
Show.
about Cody Rhodes on TNT. Or TBS, actually.
So Big Show does an elbow to Austin. Big Show does a clothesline to Austin. Big Show does chops to Austin.
What?
Austin does a low blow to Big Show.
What?
What?
Austin does a chop block to Big Show.
What?
What?
Big Show does a slam to Austin.
What?
What?
Big Show does 2 Beals to Austin.
Bill!
What?
Big Show does a suplex to Austin.
What?
Big Show did some chops to Austin who was laying on the apron.
What?
I think I made my point.
What?
Big Show does a backdrop to Austin.
Dylan, I made my point.
Big
Okay.
Show does a clothesline to Austin.
Oh, I thought you were going to play along.
No, I'm good.
Big Show does a bear hug to Austin. Big Show does a headbutt to Austin.
2.
Big Show does a bear hug to Austin again,
Sweet.
and he flicks Big Show off while he's in the bear hug.
Yeah, he does.
He also flicks the ref off too.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Austin
Pretty good.
breaks the big man rule, but it doesn't affect him negatively because he does a Luthez press off of Brett's rope to Big Show.
I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, he's going to catch him. No, he falls.
Big Show does a big boot to Austin. Austin does a stunner to Big Show. Then Scott Hall and X-Pac are coming out, and Ric Flair chases him off with a broom.
Woo!
What in the fuck?
A broom.
Big Show does a big boot and an elbow to Austin. Then Kevin Nash comes in because you can clearly hear Big Show saying, "Come on, Kevin."
Really? I didn't hear that at all.
So Austin does a stunner to Nash. Then Austin hits 2 stunners on Big Show, who takes a cane bump.
Oh, this is great. Because he takes a stunner 3 times this entire match, and all 3 times he just drops for 1 knee and then falls over backwards.
Yeah,
So-
he can't do that. He can't do it like The Rock does.
So Stone Cold Steve Austin beats the Big Show.
I couldn't imagine Big Show the size of him trying to flop around like a fish like The Rock.
Yeah.
Well, he could have at
I mean,
least taken it like Nash did, but Big Show did the fucking knee cane bump.
Yeah. Yeah, so after that match was over, Flair comes in the ring, grabs a mic, while Austin's doing the beer stuff, the Steve Washer stuff. And he's like you said earlier, he's like, I told you, Steve, I made sure no one got in the match. He's like, I want to do it. And basically, he's going to drink a beer with them. Austin cheers. They hit beers. The beer flies everywhere. Austin looks at him. Boop, kick. Boop, stunner.
He doesn't even hit the kick.
There was no kick. There was a big old whiff on the kick. I don't think Flair was ready for it. I think the kick's supposed to like signify like, hey, we're gonna do a stunner. He completely missed, and Flair had the beer back with his eyes closed, so Steve just grabbed him and threw him to the ground.
Yeah.
He completely missed. The camera angle caught it so perfectly that he just
It
completely
was
missed.
hilarious.
Yeah, so to me, this crowd sold this match for me. This crowd was fan-fucking-tastic. So every time Austin went for Big Show's knee, went to kick Big Show's knee, the crowd was chanting "what" right along with it. It was amazing.
What?
It was like 24 times. I think they did that spot like 3 times in the match, and every time the crowd was like, "What? What? What?" So at the beginning, there's a "what" chant and an Austin chant before the match even starts. This crowd loves Austin. He got a huge pop, by the way.
What crowd has not loved us?
Legend was getting sick of the what chants.
That's why I did the thing. The funniest thing I noticed when, or at least I got you to laugh on it, was they were doing the hype package for it, and Big Show turns on Austin. And I was just like, what? No! Big Show would never turn on anybody.
No way. No.
That's pretty good.
He's only been heel once in his life.
Yeah, he'll go heel face like 3 times in one match.
True.
Did you hear like the rip-off NWO music they played too?
No, I didn't notice it was a ripoff or not. I don't know.
Well, because like the one that they had here was.
NWO generic theme number 2.
Yeah, it wasn't the.
It sounded fine to me. I don't know. Maybe it was the network, but I got the regular NWO theme.
Well, what the fuck? We got the shitty version this time.
I mean, they left Mae Young's tits on the DVD too, so they clearly don't care.
At the beginning, Show says he's going to break Austin in half, and Austin just flips him off. Another what chant breaks off again. There's these what chants all over the place. I know you guys think of them, but I thought they're kind of funny because they just came at the weirdest times.
I didn't mind the what chants. He
I come
hated
at
them.
random times.
I just think this crowd just didn't hear anything. So they're just like, what?
I was annoyed at the fucking horns.
What?
How often in a match do you see? How often do you see a match involving Steve Austin where he isolates a body part?
What?
You never see that.
Not very.
Yeah, so he was on Big Show's leg the whole match. It was actually interesting.
What?
They chanted. The audience chanted "You fat bastard" to Big Show twice.
And Lawler one time even said it.
Yeah, Lawler. I think it was during the second time they chanted "You fat bastard." Lawler says to JR, "Are they talking to you or Big Show?"
Fucking damn.
And then, I enjoyed this match, except for the part where it was a fucking bear hug. I was annoyed with that one. What do you need to wrestle for? You guys aren't even doing anything. So
it's called Big Show is a big fat fuck, as the crowd would say.
Yeah, I guess so. But and then the inevitable ref bump happened, of course. So Flair is now the ref of record, but he's out of position, which was going to happen. And then because Big Show ate a stunner, and then Flair's not in position. But then he gets in position too late, and he gets a 2 count. And so Austin's pissed off. So then Flair chases off the NWO now with the fucking broom. Then Kevin Nash comes in, and finally Flair's in position, but it's still the referee making the count, so it doesn't make a difference what Flair did. So something like Flair's useless in this match.
He chased off Hall and X-Pac with that broom.
It's like the tower. It's like the broom of doom. Apparently, I mean, come on.
The broom of doom. That's a good one.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the match. No, I gave it a 7. I thought it was fun for what it was. I thought it was okay.
I gave it a 7 as well.
Yeah, 7 sounds about right. Still can't get over the Big Show's stunners.
Where he lands on one knee. Kevin Nash didn't.
He lands on one knee and then falls backwards, flat back.
It's gotta be because he's 7 foot tall, right? It's gotta be.
Kevin Nash took a better stunner, and Kevin Nash isn't too much shorter than him.
But then all I know is, in a second here, when we talk about the promo package for the main event, I get to bring up the new bump that you'll never see, because it'll only happen in Triple H matches, and only certain people do it.
Yeah, you'll laugh at this bump.
Okay, well, maybe I noticed it and didn't make note of it. So let me know when when it happens, let me know where in the match it happens.
Well, it's
maybe
gonna be. It's actually in the hype
package.
It's just in the hype package, the hype video.
What was it then?
Okay, so they're showing. I think it was in Backlash.
Yep.
Hogan and Triple H. When Hogan takes the pedigree, his head is nowhere near the ground. He puts his elbows out. He lands elbows out, face in his arms.
Oh my god, he's on all fours essentially. Oh,
I can't wait till we review that just to make fun of that.
I'm gonna go back and look at that. That's hilarious.
He just lands elbows out. It's weird.
You gotta think of a name for that. It's
he didn't do the cane bump part of it. The part of it, his legs were straight back, but he lands on his elbows.
I mean, we gotta call it the Hogan bump.
The Hogan bump.
I've never seen it before, but I was like, that's probably one of the worst looking pedigrees I've ever seen.
Oh jeez.
It's a head implicating move, and you didn't even get the head anywhere near the ground.
No.
Which is the most egregious part of the whole thing, yeah. Yeah, it's like when I reviewed that Brody Lee match with Cody, and Brody Lee's head did not hit the table, and he bladed. That was just dumb.
Yeah, is that why Brody Lee and Cody didn't go above Dusty and AJ?
Yeah.
Because I literally pinpointed them, that's probably why.
Because AJ tattooed Dusty 10 times with a fist right in front of the camera. So I mean,
you can clear as day see Brody doesn't hit the ground with his fucking head. I'm gonna be bleeding from this.
Hey man, we were wanting to hear the rest of your rankings too.
Yeah, next time, go from bottom to top for all the matches.
Oh, you want all? Well, you said top 5 and then bottom 5. So
yeah, no, that'll work for this one, but next time.
Next month.
Yeah.
Because we had interesting ideas about where you'd rank Darby and PCO and Killer Cross and Mox.
Okay. So, I can do that.
It'll work for this one, but the next one.
All right, so then we get Triple H versus The Undertaker.
Rolling. God
Not
damn
there
it.
yet. Was it there?
We didn't have that
Yeah,
theme song.
We had the.
I had rolling.
We had generic Undertaker theme song.
You mean the dead man walking thing?
No, it wasn't even that. It was just some generic ass theme song.
So I think what they did was they went back on the network and like, well, we still have the rights to this theme song of the Undertaker, and they put it on there.
on the DVD. And ours, like I said, also said WWE in the corner, not WWF, but all the other WWFs were not censored.
This whole pay-per-view was the definition of generic WWE theme song number 5.
Well, the weird thing is that I did get Brock Lesnar's generic theme, but I'd also got heel Undertaker getting Rollins as his theme today.
Yeah, we didn't get that. We got generic Taker music. It was like
Limp Bizkit rocking the set.
Yeah, it was just like don or whatever the fuck the theme song
Well,
was. It was terrible.
By the time the music even started playing, like the hype package ended, then boom, Undertaker's under the X on his bike. I'm like, what the fuck did that?
Yep. Exactly.
So the first thing I wrote was like, oh, we're rolling at this point. And I was like, that didn't make any sense either. I was like, okay, whatever.
So Triple H did a high knee and a backdrop to Taker. Triple H did a clothesline to Taker over the top rope. Yeah, he did the high knee.
High knee?
Oh, interesting.
Triple H sends Taker into the turnbuckle. Taker does a clothesline to Triple H. Triple H did the one thing Albert's always wanted. Someone reversing old school.
I wrote it down.
I fucking called it too. And also, given what happens later, it's probably a good thing that he didn't attempt it.
I wrote down Triple H pulling Taker off the ropes during old school adds a half a point.
Triple H, at this point in time, does a suplex to Taker. Triple H hits Taker on the announcer's table. Taker hangs Triple H onto the ropes. Taker does a corner clothesline to Triple H. Taker does some elbows and a leg drop to Triple H onto the apron. Taker does a chop block to Triple H. Triple H clotheslines Taker into the ropes and they break.
Damn. I've never seen that happen like in a match.
Yeah, it was fucking weird.
That wasn't intentional, because that clearly didn't look intentional at all.
Taker does a low blow to Triple H. Triple H does a backdrop to Taker. They both do a double clothesline to each other. Triple H does a swinging neck breaker and then a regular neck breaker to Taker. Triple H does a spine buster to Taker. Taker does a big boot to Triple H. Triple H reverses a chokeslam into a terrible looking DDT.
Yeah, again, speaking of not getting the head impact on a head move.
Triple H does the knee to Taker. Taker does a sick looking chokeslam to Triple H at this point in time. Taker then grabs a chair and Triple H kicks the chair into Taker.
You're a point of time.
Taker does a DDT to Triple H. Triple H does a clothesline to Taker. Taker does snake eyes to Triple H, but it doesn't look as impactful, obviously, because the ropes are broken. Then Triple H does a pedigree to Taker, and Triple H wins.
Yeah. I like this match. This match is great. The finish itself was clean. It was good. I thought there would be shenanigans, but Undertaker was like, "Okay, you got me," as he was wont to do around then. He's like, "Okay, you got me." He'll do like a little, he'll smirk a little bit and he'll leave.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I think Chris brought it up when it happened, but I'm surprised that when the ropes broke, they continued to use the ropes.
Yeah, like the snake eyes and shit.
It was just the turnbuckles, but they were able to lower their bodies enough to be able to like hit the back of it without because if they go into it normal, they'll just fly over it.
Because Irish whipped him into the corner there on the broken side. And
I was like, oh.
Yeah, but I noticed Triple H doing it when he was sort of hopping into the rope and he was coming down on it as opposed to going into it and going over it. So they adjusted really, really well to that rope breaks. I thought it was really good.
Well, yeah, because there obviously had to have been at least a couple spots that they couldn't do because that fucking rope just breaking randomly.
Well, because wonder if you're supposed to come back and take the knee to the face after that, but just hit the ropes, fucking things collapse.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, and they can't really fix it at this point because they're in the middle of a match.
Yeah, that would be bad if they stopped the match outright. But they kept it in the middle of the ring for like 90% of the end, and they did a really good job of making it look like it's exciting. I was like, okay, because I thought it'd be like kind of like they would just go through like okay, they'll call it in the ring, obviously, but they'll like but then it'll look like it's like they're going from spot to spot, whereas it looked like it looked like it looked like a good goddamn match, despite the fact that the ring broke, the ring rope broke. I enjoyed it.
Me too.
It's really good. I gave it an 8.5.
Holy shit! I gave it a 7.5.
I'll go right in the middle. I'll say an 8.
Well, I was going to say an 8, but I gave it 8.5 for a specific reason.
Yeah, he was super, super happy to see somebody finally knock that bitch Undertaker off the ropes during old school.
Yeah, I hate that movie. It's so dumb.
Let me just watch you walk me along. Do like a fucking chop to my shoulder. It's definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those moves Undertaker's famous for that I think is completely unnecessary and looks really dumb.
Well, another one is that leg drop that he does on the apron. He doesn't need to do that every fucking match.
Yeah, but that one at least looks like it does some damage. I think it just looks really dumb to watch the guy's like, oh hey, where are we going? Oh shit.
I was going to stand here. He's holding me, letting me know where he's at, and I'm not going to do anything about it.
Where are we going, Big Daddy Taker? Ah.
Hey, Triple H fucking finally avoided that shit.
Yeah. And of course, any Triple H match with the entrance of one of the best entrances of all time with just plain water and a spotlight. Oh, it's always so good.
If it was my time, it would have been a 9 for you, I bet.
It's time to play the game.
If it was my time, you would have probably given the match a 9.
Probably. But, oh well. Can't get everything you want.
It's time to play the game.
Oh, he likes the other one.
I know, that's why I will. It's time to play.
My time! Yeah.
What the fuck?
My time?
This show really sucked.
Yeah, so what are your final thoughts on this one, Albert?
I liked, aside from the finish, I thought Eddie and RVD was good. Every other match seemed like Dylan was saying, these are like matches they could have had on Raw. The women's match was the worst one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Spike Dudley and William Regal.
So, yeah, but yeah, that one too. Actually, I think that's I think they're tied for the worst ones. I didn't mind the last 2 matches, of course. I wish Regal and Spike Dudley would have been a match, like a legitimate match. That sounds like it'd be good.
What I'm getting out of this is you want more Spike Dudley, William Regal style random ass matches.
Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know that for sure. But like when I saw this was happening and it was this nonsense finish, I really was like thinking I want to see a match between these 2 guys. But it'll probably never play out because I doubt they face each other ever again.
Well, I mean, they obviously faced each other where Spike won the title.
Which is probably on Raw, so you could probably find it.
Random ass match review.
Yeah, and obviously the last 2 matches were good. I suggest if anyone wants to watch this show, just watch the beginning and the absolute end, and you'll be all right.
I'd say I'd throw in watch the Hardys match too, just so you can see Lesnar being dominant.
If you ever wanted to see your boyhood heroes, Team Extreme, get absolutely murdered by a genetic white dude, then watch the Brock Lesnar Hardy Boys match.
Yeah.
But you can skip the women's match, skip the hardcore match, skip Regal and Spike, skip Bradshaw and X-Pac.
Skip the moment you see Kevin Nash.
Well, they didn't last long enough. It's kind of hard to do that.
Just if I was creating the DVD menu screen for this, because you can hit skip on the DVDs, I'd be like, all right, skip to the next match, skip to the next match, and then the whole Kevin Nash section would be his own part. So you could just be like, skip to the point, Kevin Nash, skip, and then it goes to the continuing where the match is after Kevin Nash.
Hey, if you gotta do what you gotta do, I don't blame you one bit.
But holy shit, this is our first Insurrextion pay-per-view.
Only Insurrextion pay-per-view.
Well,
it's our first stop on the road trip.
We have 2003 as well, but that's not in this year at all.
Okay. What do you say? Think we're gonna be around in a year?
Oh yeah, we'll be around. We'll be alive.
We'll have 60 subscribers by then.
No, we have 40. We'll finally get to 40. It'll be fine.
Hey, if we keep up these random ass match reviews, one of them will get 40 for us.
This is going up in like 3 weeks. We'll probably get there.
True.
Anyways, out on that, ending. Peace.
Bye.